All right, what's up, everybody? Look, I think this crypto market is going to break out extremely soon, and I need to tell you exactly what I'm looking at and what I'm expecting next. So, what we can see here is that Bitcoin's price has been in the chopping phase for the last couple weeks, chopping up and down and up and down, like you're chopping onions, and you might as well be because people surely have been crying about this. You go look at the liquidation history, especially over this the last couple weeks. Guys, look at this: shorts to the downside, getting demolished; longs to the upside, getting demolished. I mean, this little sideways action since, let's see, May 9th or May 8th has been pretty dang on brutal, right? Whenever you have a pump like this and everyone gets all excited and then you follow it up with just sideways action, it's like nobody's winning, right? The long traders are like, man, when's it going to go? When's it going to go? They're seeing those trades open on high leverage and they're getting nervous, hoping that, of course, it's just going to rally. Then you got your short traders sitting here like, damn, is it holding support? Are we actually going to pull back? Is this a bull flag? What's happening? And your shorts are nervous. And it seems like everybody is just waiting with bated breath. They're just on the edge of their seat, nervously looking at their screens, wondering what's going to happen here. And I'm actually under the belief that there are a couple things telling me that this sideways chop action is going to be coming to an end soon. And that's exactly what I want to share with you today. Now, before, of course, I get into it, guys, don't forget that if you want to start doing some trading yourself, you can go get that 10% bonus on all first-time deposits over on BTCC. Guys, this is literally up to $10,000 per user. That means you watching right now could get up to $10,000 in free money to start trading with right now over on BTCC with that link down below. Don't pass up on an opportunity like that, especially if there is going to be a breakout on the way. Now, there are three key reasons as to why I believe that we are going to see this market start to break out sometime soon, and let me go into them. Now, the very first one is actually one of the most important ones, and that is this indicator called the Bollinger Band Width, or funnily labeled as BBW. So what we can see here is that there is a blue line on our chart, and this is a representation of volatility. Now, I'm not going to get super technical on how you measure this, but just know that when this line goes up, the crypto market is getting more crazy, or in other words, more volatile. When this line goes down, the market is getting less crazy, therefore less volatile. And what I have come to realize, and I think I'm honestly the only YouTuber who actually studies the Bollinger Bandwidth, is that on the 4-hour time frames, oftentimes when the Bollinger Bandwidth gets around or below the 250 to 2 level, you will see the crypto market break out. Let me show you what that's looked like over the last couple months, for example. So there's been a couple times where we've come back towards this 250 level, this level here on the blue line. Let me show you what they were. Let's go ahead and draw a vertical line there. Let's draw a vertical line there. Let's draw one right there. Draw one right here. Let's see, before that was there, there, and there. Okay, let's just kind of look at these examples and let's look at what's happened every single time we've gotten there. Okay, the last time was the day right before we saw this huge move down, in which we, of course, saw this pullback from 105 all the way down to 100,000. This wasn't a huge move, but a move it was, and that is when volatility obviously picked up. From there, you can see we were going down right here, and this marked the final capitulation before the market actually moved forward. So this was a huge read, right? This was the final dump before the breakup, so that was great. What you can see here is we had been going sideways for a while, struggling to break into the 618 to 786 Fibonacci zone before, boom, making this move upwards, breaking into the mid-zone resistance. Absolutely fantastic stuff there. What you can see is that we had been going sideways for a little while here, right before seeing that final dump into that pump right there. Going a little bit further, you can see that the market started to rally a little bit here. The second that we hit that key level of volatility ranging, boom, we absolutely ran up to the upside. And then the last couple examples, you can see it yourself. This was the final, that we were going somewhat decently downwards, and boom, next thing you know, we get this huge capitulation down. And the same thing here. We get this big pump and then a bigger dump following that. So every time that you see the Bollinger Bandwidth come down towards this 250 to 2 level, you need to just be aware that volatility is very likely going to be inbound. And it doesn't say what direction you're going to pump in. It just says that you might pump, you might dump. And again, my goal here isn't to tell you whether we're going to pump or dump or not. I'm going to give you my opinion, but that's not what this tool measures. This tool just tells you that volatility is on the way, therefore likely a breakout is on the way as well. Now, the next thing that I am looking at is, of course, the Hyperliquid Whale Tracker. What we can see here is that we are starting to see a very clear divergence in what is happening, not only with margin, but also with position sizing amongst the whales. Most whales are shorting the market, meaning most whales are betting that the market's going to go down, while 45% are betting that it's going to go up. Now, in comparison, the actual position sizes do show that the long traders do have a little bit more confidence than the short traders, but the short traders in general are putting more money betting that the market is going to go down. Now, as a result of these whales betting that the market's going to go down, liquidations to the upside just picked up like crazy. We are now seeing on the one day over $800 million worth of liquidations if we really just see Bitcoin push back up towards, say, an all-time high. And on the 7-day, the picture is even clearer in that there's over $1.5 billion worth of liquidations if Bitcoin pushes to $106,000. Now, this isn't a ton, right? Because if you look at the 30-day, it is still heavily favored towards the bottom side. But on the shorter term time frames, what this tells us, the reason this is so important, is because it says that people are starting to get confident that this move that we just made, this sideways action, is an implication that the market's about to crash. And what I've come to realize is that when most people bet that the market's going to go down, although it might do that in the short term, it usually doesn't do that in the long term. And that means that a lot of people are betting against the trend right now, and I think that's a little bit naive. What you have to understand is that, listen, Bitcoin just broke the golden zone, which opens the door for a possible move to as high as $120,000 to $135,000. In addition to that, it is maintaining incredibly well on top of this previous point of resistance, currently trying to flip this level of resistance into support. At the same time that we are seeing that happen, we are currently seeing our RSI give us a pretty sizable reset here. Look what's happening. We saw this bad boy hit the 42 on the 4-hour, and if you look at the 1-hour, we came all the way back down at one point right here, all the way back down to that oversold territory. And so what this means is that we are seeing a great foundation being built on top of this Fibonacci golden zone. And even if we do see the market pull back a little bit, I think there's still a very good chance that we use that as support to try to continue to make this move upwards. And so when everyone starts screaming the opposite of that, and everyone starts screaming that the market's going to go down, it does start to show me that there is a bit of a divergence between the bulls and the bears right now, and that usually does lead to some sort of breakout in either direction. Now, obviously, again, I don't know which direction it's going to go in. Might go up, might go down. Of course, I'm saying that because no one actually knows. But I do think that there is a good chance that we do go upwards, even if it requires one more pullback before then. Now, the third reason as to why I am currently feeling as if we might see some sort of breakout soon is because of, again, what we are seeing here. Let me get this pulled up for you on the RSI heat map. So when you go down to the shorter time frames, the 4-hour and also the 1-hour, what you can see is that most cryptos have now moved back into their neutral zone. You remember maybe 4 or 5 days ago, I made a video which said most cryptos were overbought, like they were just too dang high, and everybody who was buying them at those heights was taking a huge risk. Well, now on the shorter time frames, many of these cryptos have reset either back into the weak zone or the sub-neutral zone, which means generally that you're going to start to try to see them make a move soon. Whether that's a quick dip and then a rip, or a quick rip and then a continued rip, whatever it may be. This neutral zone is usually the trigger for some sort of breakout. It's the reset point. Now, do we go overbought? Do we go oversold? That's the breakout, but the breakout usually stems from being back in this neutral zone. So when you pair the fact that you have your Bollinger Band width starting to show you're back at your 2 to 2.5 level, you have your whales starting to bet heavily that we're going to go to the downside, causing a divergence and a split between the bulls and the bears, and your RSI heat map back at a neutral zone, this is the perfect formula for some sort of breakout here in the crypto market. And again, it's just on us to try to gauge and guess what we think is going to happen. So my strategy right now, knowing that I think a breakout is on the way, is actually pretty simple. While Bitcoin's price is floating above $100,700, I actually am under the belief that we're going to hold this support and use this support to try to continue upwards. And there's many good reasons as to why that could happen. We obviously had we're going for an RS flip. That's clear as day right now. If you go look at your moving averages, for example, boom, on the 4 hours, you can start to see that they are working their ways up there, and we're currently balanced really well on these moving average. If you look at your Bollinger Bands on the shorter time frames, on the 4 hour, we're seeing a condensing in the overall Bollinger Band. On the daily, you can see that we've worked our way back into the Bollinger Band, so we're not overextended anymore. All of these things just signaling to me that we have seen the market reset a decent amount. And so I think as long as we're holding support above $100,000 and $100,749, that we're actually in a good spot, and we very well may continue upwards. And I am not in a position where I am going to be doing any buying right now while we're above that level, because we're just continuing into our take profit zone. You guys know I am in a take profit mentality right now. If I actually go back over here and I show you my buy sell bubble sheet, you can see this. Remember, all of these red bubbles that you see are when I have been taking profits, and all of these green bubbles is when I was doing a lot of buying. And so right now, as long as Bitcoin is maintaining structure above $100,000, I think we're in a spot to just continue to let this puppy pump and continue to take profits all along the way. And as it goes up, I'll take more and more and more profits. Under the circumstance, though, that we do see Bitcoin's price fall below $100,000, that is an opportunity to me. That's an opportunity to take some of the profits that I was taking off the table and possibly even reinvest it back into Bitcoin at lower prices, such as what could be $98,000 at this previous point of resistance or the bottom side of the golden zone as well. Now, obviously, the big risk of doing that is that Bitcoin still has an opportunity to come all the way back down to like 85K. I know people don't want to hear that, but it is the truth. It could happen. And so I'm not going to be doing gigantic purchases in the 90s. But yeah, we fall, say, below the 90s, we start venturing into these high 80s. Yeah, of course, I'm going to take some of these profits that I took. I'm going to throw them right back in, and we get to put some gnarly green bubbles right back on it. It's the same thing that we did in a situation like this, right? We took profits, we lost structure, we came down, we scooped the lows, we took profits on the high. We scooped the lows, we took profits on the highs. That's what we're just going to continue to do over and over and over again. And I'm not just blowing smoke. As you can see here, all of these buys and sells were documented over in the Discord server, again, which I'll tell you about in a second here. And so my strategy remains this. If Bitcoin's price then loses 100,000, I am going to start slowly increasing my bag size by reinvest some of the profits that I took back into Bitcoin and some of my special alts, which are SWI, ETH, a little bit of ETH, not a ton, but SWI, XRP, things like that, Ondo, HBAR, XLM, etc. And as we go lower and lower, guess what? I'm just going to dollar cost average more and more because I do believe that would be an opportunity to then try to liquidate some of these whales and see a return back to the upside. So we're taking profits on the highs. We're going to continue to do that as long as it's above 100,000. And if it falls below 100,000, I am going to start to dollar cost average in with some of the profits that we took here. I know it's simple. I know it's so simple it sounds kind of stupid, but it has been working consistently for us this entire year. As you can see, of course, by when we've been knocking out our buys on the bottoms and our sells on the highs. Keep it simple, keep it structured, don't overcomplicate it. And guys, if you do want to see real time when I am doing these buys and doing these sales, what I want you to do is I want you to check out the link to the Crypto Strategy School down below. In the school, you're going to find access to my own personal insights section, which I give my thoughts of exactly what I think is going to happen in the market, what I'm doing, what I'm buying, what I'm selling. Listen, I gave them a full guide on when I take profits just so that they're ready for it. All of these things are available over at the school. And guys, I want to show you something that I don't really show often here, but I think it would be important for you to see. I'm not just blowing smoke. Look at the gains that these community members are generating. This is just yesterday. I just scrolled up just to yesterday. 20%, 25%, 70%, 760%, 72%, 54%, $1,000, $7,000 gain, guys. That's just a 20x trade. It's not a giant trade. $7,000 gain. They're killing it because our goal at the school is extremely simple. We don't overcomplicate this at all. We take crypto investors like you. We give you the tools and strategies that you need to become a winning investor, someone we define as confident and consistent. And the best part is if you don't see growth within the first few hours, if you don't learn anything, I'll just give you your money back. So if that interests you, what I want you to do is, again, I want you to head to the link down below and go check out the school. And again, that's how you could have seen exactly when I was doing all these buys, when I was doing all these take profits. But as of now, I don't particularly think that we're seeing anything too crazy happening in the market. I think that we're going to see a breakout of this choppy moment that we've been in right here sometime soon. And I am going to continue just the basic strategy that I'm implementing, which has been locking us in some huge gains. And so if you guys have any questions, feel free to leave it in the comments down below. You guys know I like to answer every single question that you ask down there. So feel free to jump in on that. And of course, I can't wait to see you all in the next one. Peace out, everybody.